So my name's Ellie Jakes. I was at Lincoln from 2014 to 2018. I studied chemistry here, and my current role is a senior insurance underwriter doing cyber insurance for a company called AIG. I think for me, I came to Lincoln with no real career plan in mind initially. I think like a lot of students, Oxford becomes like the goal of your life, and then you get here and you think, oh, okay, I've reached this goal, now what do I do next? So I think for me, I chose chemistry because it was what I enjoyed at A-level, and I think I maybe saw a future, maybe eventually going into something like pharmaceuticals or, go down the PhD route into research. That's probably the only kind of idea I had in mind. But I think I realised maybe within my second year that that's maybe not the route that I wanted to go down. But I really had no exposure to other industries, or I think for me, being from a small town, I wasn't really aware of the finance industry or what the different areas are. Never mind insurance. Like the only insurance I knew was travel insurance and home insurance, so I didn't realise there was a whole world of commercial insurance and protecting businesses and all these different areas. Like it was just completely new to me. So it wasn't until my penultimate year when I was applying for kind of summer internships that I was kind of just like researching different. I knew that I wanted to be in London because I just loved the idea of being in London, so I was like trying to see what is there in London, what could I apply and try and get some work experience in. For me, in those initial first few years, I didn't really have a clue, to be honest with you. It was quite a typical linear process of doing a summer internship the summer before my final year, and coming away from that with a job offer in hand, ready for when I graduated. So I went into my final year, and it was an unconditional job offer, so I went into final year knowing that regardless of what happens, I've got a job lined up, and that relieved a lot of that final year stress of applying for jobs on top of doing your finals and studying and revising. And I remember, a lot of my peers finding that very stressful time. So I felt very grateful that I had that opportunity to, first of all, have that experience of doing that internship, and then also having that comfort blanket of knowing, whatever happens, I do have this job available. So that was quite a nice linear, process. But I will say applying for the internships was quite stressful in itself. You just have to deal with that earlier on than what you would apply for grad schemes. So I think I applied for 15 to 20 different internships, which is probably a fraction of what students apply for these days. But I only got the one, and that one was the one where I ended up working after uni.
And was that process of applying? How did you was it just simply a case of just looking on the internet, making essentially applying, kind of cold calling people, not cold calling, but you know what I mean, sending things just speculatively going for it?
Yeah, a lot of it was just going on respective websites. A lot of them have, formal summer internship programs where they'll take a certain intake every year. I guess a lot of places will maybe do ad hoc, it's like an internship for one person, because someone might know. It's all about who you know these days, with a lot of things of getting that experience. But a lot of companies do these formal summer internship programs, so you just go on their website and apply through there. I didn't really go to that many careers fairs in my time at Oxford, but I know they often did have those, didn't they, in the city? And I suspect you could probably get some good contacts through them as well, in terms of if it's a certain industry that you're interested in. But yeah, it was a case of just looking online and applying where you can. Yeah. So. Yeah, I think it's a really tricky one. I think in this day and age, it's really hard to differentiate yourself from other graduates, right? Because everybody's done impressive things. Most of the graduates that interview at our place now, they've got a better CV than me, and I've been in the industry for 8 years, and they've had all these different work experiences and all these different companies, and I think it's a tricky one. I think I think you have to look at the industry you're applying for and think, okay, what skill set are they likely to be looking for? So for my industry, there's different subsections of insurance you can go into. So I'm in the underwriting side, which is a very people-focused role. Like, you're dealing with insurance brokers, you're dealing with clients, so it's all about, it's not so much what you know, but it's more, are you able to learn and are you able to communicate to people effectively and build relationships? So it's all these kind of soft skill elements. So I think for my industry, showing, if you're part of a society or you're on a committee or, anything that demonstrates those softer skills can be a real asset, because they'll know that, you went to Oxford, you've got a degree, you've got great A levels, they know you're smart, but it's, okay, how can you put that into practice and how can you actually use that to build a business up or, whatever it might be. So yeah, I think for my industry, it does set you apart as an applicant. I think you probably are more likely to get to that initial interview stage if you have had some sort of experience before. I think as well, if you do a summer internship, you've already got a head start with your networking and you have contacts and people, you might have made friends in the industry, and they can be a big help with recommending, where there's job openings. It's kind of maybe not so much a direct advantage, but an indirect, in the sense that it better prepares you for that. And I think if you've done an internship or work experience, I think it really, it almost acts, say it's 10 weeks, it's almost like a 10-week interview, but it's like a two-way interview. So it's more like, okay, the company are kind of working out if you'd fit in there on their graduate program, and then vice versa, it's okay, is this industry actually something I enjoy and want to do? So I would always recommend getting some experience if you know what industry you want to go into, or even if you don't, just trying things. It just helps you try things out without committing, to a full-on, full-time graduate program. So I think in all honesty, I think it can set you apart in the application process in the insurance world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll try and keep it as high level as possible. So in the insurance industry, you have, I guess, three main parties. So you have the insurance underwriter, which is me, you have your insurance broker, and you have the end client, so the insured. The insurance broker's job is to work on behalf of the client to find them an insurance policy solution for the risk that they want to transfer. And the insurance underwriter's job is to receive that risk as a form, as a submission, which would normally come over email. And my job is to assess that risk and decide if my company want to take on that risk. And then I would then provide terms to the broker and say, okay, we're willing to do this limit, provide this coverage, and this is the premium. And then the broker will then collate the different options from various markets and then discuss with the client who they want to proceed with. So we deal mostly with brokers rather than directly with clients. So a lot of it is relationship driven. Brokers send risks to people that they like. It's very traditional, it's a bit traditional in the sense that they do have maybe their favorites. I mean, there's also a case of, you want to make sure that you're the insurer that's got the best product and the best proposition, but you also want to make sure that you've got good relationships with brokers. So my day-to-day, there will be quite a bit of time at the desk, which is when you're assessing the risk, you're rating the risk, you're coming up with a premium, you're putting together the terms, or you're going back and asking more questions on the risk. But then a lot of the day as well is doing that relationship building side. So whether that's catching up with a broker over a coffee, understanding, okay, what business have you got coming in down the line? Is there anything I can help you with? How's your family? And then catching up and building that relationship alongside. And then, can also be if you've won some good business or you've got an ongoing good relationship with a broker, you may go out for lunch. So it's very much, every day is a little bit different. We have a lot of internal meetings as well on things like strategy or doing cross collaboration with different. So I work in cyber, but we might collaborate with the financial institutions team who deal with a lot of banks, because the banks might also want cyber cover. And so we do a lot of collaborative work. So it's a lot of different stakeholders that we're dealing with. And I'm also a manager of 3 people, so that's a part of my role as well, having regular one-to-ones with them, making sure that they've got the support that they need. So lots of different... It's a nice blend, I think, insurance underwriting of technical skills, because you're actually doing the risk analysis, problem solving, but then you've also got the soft skill side as well that you develop, the people skills, the management skills, relationship building. So that's what I quite like about my role. It's not like very strong either way. It's a nice blend, a nice mix of things, so it keeps it interesting. I think for me, so studying chemistry, you develop these skills with, obviously you have strong technical skills and problem solving skills as well, which all that translates into many different careers. Both of our careers probably, and it's quite interesting because when I joined the graduate program, there was an intake of 15 graduates at the time, and I think there was 3 of us that were chemists, which was quite interesting. But then there was also someone that did ancient history, people that did English, languages, like all sorts of different backgrounds. So yeah, I think if you were studying, if your degree was chemistry, I think you would enjoy my job because you've got that technical aspect to it. So you're still utilising your brain power, your problem solving power. It's not just all dealing with people and stakeholder management. You've still it's still a good challenge in that sense. It challenges you technically, but it's also, it's just a bit different as well, actually. I think it's actually a bit of a contrast to my degree in a sense. A lot of the people stuff is maybe, I suppose when you're doing labs, you have a lot of that people skilling, when you're working with a team in that sense, it kind of, that translates. But yeah, I think there is a little bit of a contrast there. Yes, insurance, it's so diverse and massive. There's many ways to kind of enter it or fall into it. Is kind of how a lot of everyone's backstory, because nobody ever really grows up and thinks, oh, I really long to be in the insurance industry. You don't really realise how fun it can be and interesting it can be. A lot of people just kind of fall into it. But I guess the formal routes would be via an internship or applying for a graduate program. A lot of big organisations now do apprenticeship routes, but if you're not successful with applying for those, there's other means of getting your foot in the door. So we've just had a new person join our team who applied for like an entry level operations role, so doing more of the admin support side of things, and I think they'd applied for the graduate program and weren't successful in getting on that, so that's how they've managed to get their foot in the door. And maybe it might take them slightly longer to get to an underwriter level versus the 2-year graduate program, but I think once you have your foot in the door, the possibilities are endless, and the routes can be very different. But you also get people later in life switching to the insurance industry from previous industries. So I work with insurance brokers who were teachers before, and now they've gone into insurance broking, which is actually this great transferable skills there, because you as a broker have to explain complex insurance to a client who may not understand it, which probably has a lot of similarities with teaching students. There's also a lot of cyber brokers who are ex-military. So I work with cyber brokers who were, maybe in the RAF or the army, and whilst they were in those roles, they ended up in the cyber intelligence section, and learning about that through that route. And then they've kind of got to a point in their life that, okay, I want to start a family. I want to be maybe a more lower risk, stable industry. So they were able to use those skills to apply for roles in the insurance industry. And a lot of, I think, Lloyd's of London and a lot of the insurance companies have these kind of military schemes to kind of support people who are in the military and getting into the industry and things like that. So I think, there's lots of different ways to get in. And I think a lot of people are willing to help as well. So I say networking can sound daunting, but just managing to get one coffee with someone in the industry can really open a lot of doors for you. Like I've had people reach out to me on LinkedIn and want to meet for a coffee, and then they're like, okay, I'm interested in this area, what do you think, what should I do? And then I might put them into contact with someone else, and then eventually that builds a network, and that other contact maybe had a role open up in their team, they're like, oh, this might be great for that person. So like, you know, having those people connections is another way. So there's quite a lot of different options.
Great. And just on that point, is would you say kind of LinkedIn is the place to do that? So sending an email to someone through their LinkedIn profile, or contact them through LinkedIn itself, is that kind of, would that be the way you advise?
I think so. I think probably 99.9% of people in the insurance industry will be on LinkedIn. It's very much how we get recruited for jobs. It's how we move, you know, it's how we, you know, update our networks on what's been going on, promoting our teams, promoting our business. So a lot of people in insurance will have up-to-date LinkedIn profiles. Yeah, I think reaching out to people, there's no harm in doing that. I mean, some people may not respond if they don't know who you are, but I think, you know, if you reach out to maybe people who have maybe gone through the grad scheme recently, I think that sort of generation might be willing to take the time to help you out and give you advice. So yeah, I would say LinkedIn is probably the most effective way of reaching out. I think my advice to my younger self would be do your research and explore different industries and opportunities, because there's so much out there that you don't even realise.